Hello from wherever you are in the world, and welcome to this episode of the Great British Mickey Waffle. I'm Peter, and in today's episode we'll be delving into the latest announcement from Disney. The return of free dining, but is it truly free? Stick around to find out. And I'm joined in this episode by a whole smorgasbord of wafflers. Let's start with Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Peter. How are
Everything
you?
okay?
I'm all good. Looking forward to tonight. I think this show is going to be one that I know last month's show there was a lot of calculations for Disney Vacation Club. There's been a lot of calculations to go to work out whether the Disney dining plan is actually free.
Yes.
So keep your calculators ready.
Hello, Becca.
Hello.
Everything okay today?
Well, I've still got this blasted cough that I've had for about a month now. But... So if I do start coughing in the middle of the show, I do apologise.
Isn't it a 100-day cough?
I don't know how long I've had it. How long I've been having it for. Better not be 100 days.
And Claire, how are you today?
I am very well, thank you, Peter. I'm looking forward to Wafflers Do Maths, which I think is
maths, yes.
This evening. Today's episode brought to you by the numbers 3 and 6, like Sesame Street or whatever it is.
See, I've now got Countdown and Rachel Riley in my head.
I know. I've got what's the count in Sesame Street?
Oh yeah,
one
the count.
dining plan. 2 quick service meals. That's kind of where my brain went. I'm afraid.
There's an advertising campaign in that, I think, somewhere. No.
I'm not sure Sesame Street is Disney enough.
Maybe
no,
Street.
If Universal did their own, they could totally use that. Oh, genius! Have that.
Isn't it SeaWorld?
No, it's SeaWorld.
SeaWorld.
It's
Sesame Street is SeaWorld.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the same.
That's a
group.
shame.
It's Comcast, isn't it? I'm sure.
No,
No?
it's not. No.
Oh well, they can have whoever it is
yeah.
who's got Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Use that as your promo.
Usual
like that.
10% rule applies. So, just saying.
Yeah.
10. You're
At
cheap.
least.
I charge much more than that, John.
There's an extra 0 on the end.
He's been heard already before he's been introduced. Hello, John.
Hi, Peter. 1st of May, and it still hasn't stopped raining. You know that's the thing.
No.
I am getting to the stage now where winter started last September, right? And we're now into May, and I've still got the heating on. It's still raining. It's still cold, and actually, yeah, I'm just glad I've got a holiday booked for August, because by that time it's either going on holiday on a plane or building an ark. That's the only thing I'm left with at the moment.
I just can't believe how much rain we've had. It is May. This should be the time we should have barbecues.
But
It just doesn't.
they talked about
Yeah.
April showers. Well, it never stopped raining for the whole of April. It
Well,
wasn't a shower. It
April
was just like from the 1st of April onwards. So
I mean, I think this is weird for me because everyone who's listening knows that we record in advance. And we're recording today. And by the time this show comes out, I will have been away and got back on my trip.
so
think of the future. I had a really great time.
The thing about that as well, though, Claire, is that by the time the show comes out, you'll be on your socials. You'll have a nice tan and things like that. And it's just like, hang on a minute.
That's it. It's kind of like if I forgot to tell you I had a good time moment. Yeah.
Claire, please make sure you bring back some of the sunshine.
Oh, I intend to. It's
Hook it to the plane.
About time. Hook it. I'm going to put it in my case. I've got 2 big cases. I will bring some sunshine in my suitcase.
Well, that will
32 kilogram limit of sunshine.
That'll last at least until the second of May. Yeah.
Right.
Before we get into the ins and outs of the dining and drinking, we turn once again to one of my favourite parts of the show, Imagineering Icons. Throughout our series, we celebrated the visionary minds behind the Disney magic. And this month, John will shed light on a figure whose influence spans across the Disney parks. John, take it away and introduce us to the legendary Bob Gurr.
Part of this series, we use the word legend rather appropriately. This month, having seen the photos and the online reaction to a 92-year-old man driving down Main Street in Disneyland, legendary possibly fits the description of the effervescent Imagineer Bob Gurr. Yes, you heard that right. Just weeks ago, social media was ablaze with a photo of him driving down Main Street. The unequivocal response was one of sheer joy and a respect of an Imagineer that nobody, even in these social media driven days, had a bad word to say about him. Quite possibly still having the time of his life, Bob was in fact responsible for the design of the majority of Main Street vehicles, making use of his initial training as a well-respected designer for the Ford Motor Company. Born in October 1931, his own recollection of childhood was possibly not what you would expect. His book, Design Just for Fun, outlines his childhood with surprise and honesty. He describes himself as a real handful when he was young, getting it spelled and sent to military academy. He also recognised that these days many would have given up on a kid like him, or possibly used medication to make them more manageable. Bob thankfully had relatives and teachers who challenged him and believed in him and ensured he kept a focus on the things that were to matter to him for the rest of his life. It possibly explains that childlike fun that we saw in his face at the age of 92. He is alive in the here and now and able to see things on a much wider basis than possibly anyone listening or watching this. His Disney story began slowly, and he readily admits he never spoke to Walt initially. However, things moved rather quickly, and with some sharp ideas and stunning designs, Walt quickly recognised the talent the Wed Enterprises newcomer had, and saw he possibly had a person who could make some of the Disneyland dreams become a reality. A creative spark was ignited between the two, one that was built on intrinsic trust. Bob designed it. Walt asked if he could build it. Answer of yes, and it was done. They were the perfect foil for each other. Bob seemingly understood the vision he had and the design acumen to make the impossible possible. The Disneyland monorail being a prime example, although it's one of Bob's greatest retorts that if it moves at Disneyland, then he probably designed it. Autopia ride vehicles was where the whole thing began, with the Main Street Omnibus and Disneyland Fire Engine being his design and build too. That fire engine was based on a simple remark to Walt that Disneyland had a fire station, yet no fire engine. You can imagine the conversation and the reality that followed too. That was how they worked. Flying saucers, Doom Buggies, Matterhorn bobsleds, submarine voyages, the Magic Skyway at the World Fair, and the People Mover. If you wanted something designing, Bob Gurr was your go-to person. He simply knew how things worked, and at times wasn't afraid of trying to make the seemingly impossible happen. Something that became apparent in his help in designing the very first audio animatronic human figure of Abraham Lincoln in Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. His Disneyland designs helped in the opening of Walt Disney World, although the development of the monorail and Magic Kingdom was put to the ultimate test, with the construction team unsure if the building of the contemporary resort could withstand the vibration of the monorail passing through. Bob set out to prove his concept firsthand. Determined that his development was flawless, he took a seismogram and attached it to the track as an example of vibration and proceeded to board the monorail and start the loop. Rather than simply gliding through the building, he took the vehicle up to the top speed of 43 miles an hour and blew straight through the Contemporary in what he calls the most reckless thing he ever got to do with a monorail at Walt Disney World. Outstandingly, the seismogram never moved. Astonished, the builders couldn't believe what they'd saw. So he jumped back in and he repeated the process all over again. He explained the experience in a few simple words, saying that the small gap on each side of that monorail entering the building gets a whole lot smaller at 43 miles an hour. Can you imagine going through at that speed today? With windows on Main Street in Disneyland and Walt Disney World, they're perfect reminders of his contributions to both parks, and they both sum up his contribution to Walt, to Wed Enterprises, and the parks we enjoy today. His ability to recognise the changes that lay ahead due to destabilising changes in leadership led to his decision to go his own way in 1981, launching Gurr Design and contributing to the work at Universal Studios Hollywood, plus the mysterious UFO from the closing ceremony of the 1984 Olympic Games, and indeed the animated T-Rex in Spielberg's Jurassic Park. His work and his enduring designs will live forever. He's the last remaining Disneyland Imagineer. His spirit through all his work and his unequivocal love for Disney and life itself will forever carry the same ethic that Walt always believed in. Bob Gurr sums up those immortal words of Walt. If you can dream it, you can do it. Well, Bob thought of it, designed it, and then he made it happen. Engineering of the highest order, and such a legendary part of the evolution of the parks we know and love. And you know something? He still goes for a drive in them too.
Wants to go and have dinner with Bob Gurr. I want to have dinner.
Absolutely.
I want to have dinner with Bob Gurr and Dick Van Dyke. That's the dinner I want to go and have. It's just incredible, isn't he? In terms of all the stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
And, you know, going through the Contemporary at 43 miles an hour.
I love that.
I'm not sure I want to do that. I kind of do want to see it happen, though. I'm not sure that any of them go at 43 miles an hour at the moment. I think 4.3 miles an hour is probably, or not 0.43 miles an hour. It might be closer to
through Contemporary.
And we know it's not because it's going to do any damage. Not to the building, anyway.
Anyway, yes.
That's just incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
Just that was really emotional. Just listening to everything. I was just that was amazing, John.
I think just the vehicle, you come out, the iconic vehicles that we see and that become just part of our everyday in the Magic Kingdom and on any main street, actually, when you think about all the things that you hear, the sound of them, and they're just part of the furniture. And I can't imagine Main Street without them.
No.
Actually,
no. You know what? I've never done any of the Main Street vehicles.
Mecca, really?
I've seen them. I've walked past them. I've watched them. I've never actually got on one.
I have been on one in Disney.
I've been around when they've been parked up there, I don't think.
It's too busy focused to get.
You never ridden the trolley?
No.
On the bus, or I don't think the bus is. You don't see the bus that often in Orlando anymore. You see it in Paris.
Yeah, you do a lot.
I tend to just walk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you can just walk. Of course you can.
Next time we're going, we'll have to. We'll have to get on one.
Get on one of the vehicles, just because it's just one of those things that is iconic.
And it's also worth it because you get to see the surprised face of people who hear the horn just behind them. and then dash out of the way.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe they don't dash out of the way.
No, yeah.
Can we get the horn again? Much
Yeah.
louder.
Yeah. I've got to say, Ben, I'm really taken by your description of being emotional, because actually,
Yeah.
certainly researching Bob Gurr, it became I became really invested in him, and to be honest, by the time I finished recording that, he was the type of guy that actually you want to, Claire wants to invite him for dinner. I was very close to just sort of sending an adoption certificate and saying, come and
adopt a granddad.
do you know, that's the
Totally.
sight of him on Main Street driving a vehicle that he designed,
Okay.
but the joy on his face, but the reaction on social media. I as much as you hear of different sources online and people that say, but he wasn't this, he wasn't that, or he did this one time. There was nothing. Everyone just turned around and said, what an absolute gentleman. What an absolutely amazing guy.
Yeah.
I met him here. I met him in the parks 2-3 years ago, whatever. Nobody could actually conjure up a story about him, which I found quite intriguing in some ways, because actually, like it or not, social media is well known for that. And it was just, for me, it was breathtaking just hearing about the childhood that he'd had. And I still think there's a little element of that where at the age of 94, he's still fighting that whole part of whatever his diagnosis or non-diagnosis of whatever condition he has. He's still in control of himself. And actually, I just touched upon it in the piece, but I think it was just before Hollywood Studios opened, so we sort of 80, 81, and there was a massive power struggle going on within the actual up in the top of the whole Disney company, but they basically were dismantling Wed Enterprises, just laid off so many Imagineers, but Bob could see it coming, and that's what really appealed to me. He was always in control of his destiny in a way, and by getting out, he probably avoided that part where his memories of Walt become sullied by mismanagement, and so he went his own way for a bit, but he's always and still welcome back in the parks, and I think that's the most beautiful part to it. And I just
love seeing the smile on his face, and that's the thing.
That's the thing.
When I'm that age,
genuine.
that's what I'd love. You just want to be. You want to be happy in your 90s and just be able to look back at everything that you've achieved.
Watching him smiling and doing those things it just makes me smile so much. And I think that you're right, John. It does. You do read stuff online about various different people who perhaps have a personality that is different to how they really are on a day to day. But I agree with you. Everything I've ever seen, people tag Bob Gurr in social media all the time in terms of he was in Disneyland, so I took a photo. And every time, everyone talks about how genuine he is, what a kind and pleasant and polite man he is. And he isn't arrogant in any way, shape or form. People just talk to him and he enjoys having that conversation and interaction with people on a day-to-day. I hope that he hangs around forever.
Yeah, but he will, because what he's actually designed, I could have done the whole segment about sort of the Omnimover part of the Doom, the Doom Buggies and things like that. Everything is designed, and when you start looking at how many different rides they've influenced since then, and you're thinking, oh my word, even the stuff that he designed for the World Fair, and with cars, and with which then went on to be World of Motion, which then they adapt ever so slightly in other variations. His design will stay within that Disney design company forever. It's just, what a lucky man, and what
you're right, John. Yeah, and when you think of all of the stuff that when you think from like the Omnimover and that sort of system, and then what it's now moved on to like the trackless system, which has come from that, and how things are developed, it's like you'll go back to that point in time and it's like actually that was where all of this come from.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It really is.
Something that something that people don't realize is that Bob, he designed the 2 railway stations in Disney Sea in Tokyo.
Oh, I got you.
And they're very different to each other. One is quite futuristic looking, and one is an American waterfront, which has that 1920s American feel. Yeah,
that's incredible. I think that's the thing. It's interesting as we're going through these series of different Imagineers that we're finding all these nuances, all different things that they're getting involved in, and it just reminds me of there was a social media post a couple of weeks ago with Joe Rody in Epcot. Walking around with I think a few other Imagineers, and it was like, it's interesting that
I was
family holiday, wasn't it?
like Imagineers reunion.
I looked at that photo, Ben, and I just thought, I would love to know what he's actually saying. I saw the photograph, and I just thought, oh my word, he is going to go to town on them, and he probably walked it. So, what did you do with that big fountain? Where did the big fountain go? That was a big mistake, guys. We need a fountain. We get the fountain.
Why have you not done half this building to rebuild it again? It's But yeah, I'd love to. And it's interesting because Joe Brody is going to be doing the Imagineering classes for current Imagineers and future Imagineers. So that's gonna be really interesting to see over the sort of next decade or so what Imagineers get up to.
It just raises the bar again, though. And I think that's what we need, though. We need somebody in there within the company who recognizes exactly how these parks came into being in the first place. Not someone who's like just sitting behind a computer screen and designing things like, with like as if it was a game and things like that. People who actually understand.
Instead of people dealing with it just, it's a spreadsheet, we need to make the numbers work. And that side of it, but there's always that part in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's always probably that part of an Imagineer, like because every time I've seen like the Imagineering story, you see them drawing all these intricate designs and like pushing the bar even higher. And then there's someone sort of in finance going like, you can do that. If it's going to cost that, we can't.
A bit. You might say a bit like Walt and Roy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Talking of spreadsheets, Peter.
Here we go. Look what you did there, Claire. That was
what a segue into the next.
What a segue. Yeah, indeed.
Thank you, John. No, that was amazing. And I hope that one day I get a chance to meet you.
So do I. So do I.
Right. As I said in the intro, Disney recently announced the return of the free dining plan, but not for everybody. There are a few provisos, a few quid pro quos. So let's start at the very beginning. Okay, can somebody start? What is the dining plan?
It's a very good place to start, Peter. At the very beginning, I've heard. I could write a song about that, but someone.
Indeed.
I was going through my head as well, John. I just stopped myself from singing.
Me to it.
See, I've got this thing. When this starts at the beginning, we've all been to see the Frozen show, haven't we? That's what's going through my head. It's like it was a dark and stormy night.
Around 101. Yeah.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But to answer your question, Peter, we are in a
Might as
nutshell.
well, we're here.
In a nutshell, the dining plan is prepaying for your food at Disney. In a nutshell.
But it's free.
In a nutshell.
You can't be prepaying if it's free. That goes against the idea of being free. Surely not.
This is like blankety blank. Super match game. Is it free?
Yes or no? Blankety blank.
In my head, I've now got super match game, super match game, super match game. In my head.
I can also just
For Americans.
Showing my age,
that's
friends.
exactly.
All those people.
It's back now.
It's still
It's
back.
back now.
Bradley
Walsh is doing it, yeah.
Oh, well, there we are. Do they still
There you
use the
go.
awful audios that they used to have? And is there still a checkbook and pen? Is the most important thing.
Yes, there is.
Yes. And the prizes are still as rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For our American friends, it's the match game.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
Oh,
they call it the match
blank's
game.
much better.
Blank's
better.
Oh, it is, yeah.
How do they do the
In the UK,
so
we're so
went
much
out
better
for
at naming
dinner and
things.
blank was? How can they do that if you don't call it blankety blank?
That just
Yep.
yeah. We're so much better in UK naming things. It wasn't like boat
Yeah.
team at boat face. Isn't that the boat? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like things like that. It's just if you give something to a UK audience to name.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Yeah, Boating at Boatface turned out to be one of the lifeboats on the boat. Was actually called
Okay.
Boating at Boatface.
There's a whole load of gritters that have got amazing names.
Oh, they do, yeah. And
Britney
that's been
Britney Spears,
been
Britney
Yeah.
Spears,
Oh,
love
yeah.
that.
Itsy Bitsy Anti-Slip
Teeny-
Machine.
Teeny Weeny
Yeah,
Andy
Weeny
Weeny
Slip-
Slip
Yeah.
Machine.
or something.
Tangent,
Yeah.
people, if you
Yeah.
hadn't noticed.
What I will do is I will post these in our Facebook community, the Waffler's Arm. So if anyone wants to know anything about these gritters, the names of them,
Yes.
just
Because that's what we're talking about.
It's always
yours.
the name of Gritters is always handy in the start of May as well, isn't it? Like, you know.
Well, it is in the UK.
I can't imagine any of them in Walt Disney World.
No.
Peter and Jill, you're still in the country, aren't you? So you don't get
Next week
gritters.
we're going to France. So
So they might need the grit.
Yeah.
yeah, they might need
Beware the weather warning. That'll be it.
The last time I went to Orlando, it was sunny and hot. So maybe it's not us. I don't know.
There you go.
It's you.
Anyway, there are two types of dining plan. There's a quick service dining plan, which has 2 quick service meals, 1 non-alcoholic or alcoholic drink per meal, 1 snack or drink per day, and 1 resort mug. And there is the full dining plan, which is the same, but instead of getting 2 quick service, you get 1 quick service and 1 table service meal. The elements of the plan can be used at any time during your visit, and any credits will show on your receipt afterwards with the balance taken off and what you have left. And I think that covers everything except for the fact that for table service restaurants, gratuities are not included.
So Peter, let me just clarify that if you were there for 2 weeks per person, you would get, if you're on the quick service plan, you would get 28 quick service meals per person. And if you wanted to, you could eat them all on your first day.
Yep.
Yes.
You don't have to use
You'd
them
be
day one.
ill
There's no
for the
requirement
next
to use.
13 days.
There's no reason why you have to use them day by day. It's not like there's an
No.
allowance per day.
You could have 4 in one day, one
Right,
for
you can
next,
load up
and-
on day 1 and then spend the next 13 days unwell, but you've had your money's worth. Or you
Or
can
you
take
could
them
opposite
all.
way around. You
Starve
could just-
yourself for the first 13
I'm not
days
getting
you
on
have
the
them all.
Oh,
you if you
no.
do that.
Oh, right.
You could
No.
be too. You're too busy going from attraction to attraction, and then you're like, "Oh, I need to eat." So it's like, okay,
So you don't. It's not a day-to-day allowance. It is a total allowance for the duration of your trip to the amount that you would get on the plan.
and also to add on to Peter, when you say you get the receipt, you can also check it on the app as well.
Yes.
On the app, when you can see what you've got left, it's really handy to know because sometimes if you don't plan, and I think this goes with a lot of stuff we've spoken about in shows
Previously.
before, that if you don't plan, sometimes you can get to the end of the trip and have a lot of credits left, or you get to like halfway through the trip and go, I've eaten too much,
Yeah.
and then I haven't got enough credits to last the rest of the trip, so you have to pay out of pocket. So there's a little bit of food for thought to think about what you need to sort of plan for when you want to eat while you're in Disney.
We tend to save snack credits for going round the booths in Epcot.
Yeah.
Because quite a lot of their dishes are snack credits.
Yeah.
It was a lot better when you could exchange a quick service meal for 3 snack credits.
Yes, it was, yeah.
You can't do that
You
anymore.
can't do it
You
now.
can't do
No.
that anymore.
And
But
you only
yeah.
get one snack a day where you used to get 2. So there's been changes since the
Oh, they
plan.
have,
It's-
yeah.
There is still no difference between a child quick service meal and an adult quick service meal, is there?
No, there
That's
isn't.
still the
I don't
same.
think
No.
so.
So if you're an under 9 and therefore receiving you've got a child's ticket and therefore receiving the children's dining plan and you're on the quick service plan, you can have an adult meal.
And if you are the parent getting
You can have
said child's
alcoholic
adult
drink.
meal, you can get an alcoholic drink.
Or if you're a clever parent and you actually don't have the child anywhere near you, you can actually go and buy your child a soft drink if you need to, and actually pay for that, and you'll get 2 alcoholic drinks. Just saying, like.
So there are
I'm
ways
guessing
around
that-
making it
Yeah,
positive
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
I think it's
Also-
worth saying as well, because actually I think for anyone who has never done a trip with a dining plan, yes, it makes the whole bit so much easier knowing that you're going to be there and you actually know that your food is taken care of. I think that really is where the premise of it prior to lockdown and COVID was so
Yeah.
it
Definitely.
worked so well because you left the UK.
It feels like Disney's version of all inclusive.
Yeah,
It's
totally
like,
is.
yeah.
It's exactly.
and
I'm
Yeah.
going to point out one thing.
Yeah.
If you're travelling with a child under 3, because they don't get a park ticket,
They don't
they
get
don't
any
get
food.
credit.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't get food, but they can eat off of their parents'
Yeah.
plate.
Yeah.
So make sure you get.
I mean,
Or
they
you
can
buy
have
them a
food.
separate meal.
They can eat. They're allowed to eat.
You can buy
Just
it for
don't-
them, yes.
You just don't get it included in your
Yeah.
dining plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
we're not recommending starving your under
No, that would be good.
No, but we are recommending being aware of this so that you
Yeah.
know that you're either going to have
Yeah.
to pay out
Buy
pocket
it
for their
or
meals,
take
Yeah.
it. Or,
No,
yeah.
good
take
call.
it
That.
with you,
No, really good
unless
call.
you might have a starving child.
Yes, that is true.
Right, now that we're all on the same page, let's have a look at the current offer.
Sorry.
With value resorts, you get 1 quick service meal per day. You can pay up to other plans, but going up to the full plan essentially means you're paying for the full plan. It's pretty much the same price.
So, Peter, do we know the cost per person per day for the quick service plan and the table service plan, just as a price comparison, so we know roughly what we'd be spending, or what the intended cost would be?
I think I'll hand over to our maths genius for that.
Carol.
Actually.
Rear of the year, is it Ben?
It's like I'm presenting like what's
Sorry.
Pride of Britain.
Bride of Britain.
Pride
of Britain.
Oh, okay.
That's probably a different
Could be
show.
worse.
Yes.
Could be worse.
So, Ben, you've got the figures, haven't you?
Yes, so for the quick service dining plan, if you're an adult, it's $47.99 per night, and if your child, it's $19.99 per night.
That's pounds, not dollars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pounds. Yeah, and the full dining plan is $77.99 per adult, and for a child, it's $24.99 child per
Okay.
night.
Okay. So that's what it would cost you if you were buying it.
So for what would that be? A 2-week trip would be just under 2,200 for the full dining plan.
Per person.
But that's for 2 adults.
Okay. For 2 adults. Okay.
2 adults. If you're doing quick service, it's 1,350.
Okay. That's quite a lot of
Yeah.
money.
It is. If
But
you
I don't know
want-
why. I thought they were more than that. I'm going to be honest.
They are in dollars.
Yeah, that's
Probably what it is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of this on the moment.
Okay, so value resorts automatically get 1 quick service meal, but you can upgrade twice if you like. Moderates get the quick service dining plan, but you can upgrade to the full plan. And deluxes automatically get the full plan. Okay, so if you want to
get
pay
it
up,
in a value, you don't get a dining plan in the value, or do you?
you
get
just
a,
get
get a
a
You get a
quick
quick
service
service meal.
per day.
Yeah.
And you get the snack and the drink.
no,
mug.
No,
there's no
No,
available mug
no,
and no snack.
it's just
in
a
that.
Wow.
quick service meal.
Okay.
If you
So
want
quick-
to get the snack and the mug, you have to pay up to the quick service or to the full plan.
Okay. That's
I like
weird,
the
isn't it? 'Cause
flexibility that you can.
the mug doesn't cost them anything. Like the refillable mug, realistically, if you're staying in an All Stars, how far are you walking to fill that thing, number one?
Yeah.
And how often are you going to do it? Like the cost
Quite a
of the
lot,
mug
but
is
yeah.
going to cost you more than the cost of the drinks that are going in it.
Last time we were there, it's about $22 for the mug
Yeah, this is the thing. So that
for length of stay.
the mug itself probably cost them like $2 to make. And realistically, how much is someone going to use it? Probably not that much. I think they could have thrown that in for free. I don't think it, the soda doesn't cost them anything.
No. It's surprising, isn't it? It's...
Yeah.
But I think it's the same way they used to, because I remember every time we'd look for 2 meals a day, you'd always look straight to the moderate.
Yeah.
And this is where you need to look at when you're looking at the price of value is it better to book a value hotel than a moderate, but then you pay to upgrade your dining plan? Or actually, is it better to
cheaper just to
book
stay at moderate?
Because you get the dining plan as well, and you get a nicer resort? Yes, I know. I'd definitely rather stay at Coronado Springs than All-Star Music.
Yeah.
Right.
If I'm choosing between the two.
Yeah.
I do have some figures about upgrading. So in a value hotel, if you upgrade to the quick service plan, assuming that it's 2 adults for 14 nights, it will cost you £840 to upgrade.
Okay.
In a value hotel to the full plan, it will cost you $1,680 to upgrade. And in a moderate hotel, which gives you the quick service, if you want to upgrade to the full plan, it's £840 again.
Okay. So the question is the hotel cost to move to the next group, the next level of hotel, more or less than £860? That's the golden question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ben, have you done that maths already?
Funny enough, I have chosen 3 resorts: All-Star Movies, Port Orleans Riverside, and Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh,
excellent.
So there we go.
And I've also chosen 4 dates over the year, so we can compare and work out what is going to be best value. But I thought I'd start off with probably the most popular for our audience, which is going to be the summer holidays. So All-Star Movies, without the offer, so this was before the dine-in plan.
Yeah.
The website price was £2,494.
And I will say, before we go any further, all of these figures are subject to change.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it also, because you can actually, if you use the number and you want to go for less nights, there is a minimum stay of 5 nights if you want to do the dining plan.
Yeah.
So again, you can actually work around that 14 and then go from there to suit yourself as to what kind of holiday or however long you want to stay on site as well. So just play about with your dates as well.
Yeah. So without the offer, it was £2,494. With the offer, it drops down to 2,005. So that's a saving of £489.
So
with
it's
the
cheaper
offer.
now.
It's actually cheaper now with the offer.
To stay at All-Star Movies. Probably because it's
in the summer holidays as well.
Right. Okay. That sounds really odd, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does.
It was one of those things. I have to admit this, and the date I chose was the 18th of July. So it's in summer holidays. If we go to the moderate, which Port Orleans Riverside, without the offer was £3,932. With the offer, it drops down to £3,894. It's only a small saving there, but it's still less.
So you really are genuinely getting it for free.
Yep.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is $6,254, because you can see the big jump between value, moderate, and deluxe. Drops down from $6,254 to £6,019.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of saving, and I was really surprised. I had to run these numbers a couple of times, thinking like, why is it dropping down in price?
Yeah.
Because normally it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's summer holiday pricing. The summer holidays was the only one where it dropped down.
Can I just say as well before we move on, because actually I took a little separate bit on this as well, Ben, because actually being sort of summer centric on quite a lot of this. I went digging and I basically took I went on a 5-day stay, but I'm just talking about numbers and how they stack up. And I took the numbers for this year, which I am very aware that Disney used dynamic pricing. So if there is hotels that have got very little accommodation available, they will raise the price to a stage where you don't even want to think about going there. So go and choose somewhere else. So always be aware of that. Don't just, if you see a price and you think, oh, that's a bit much, go and check out somewhere else, because it might well be that there's a conference booked into a hotel, or it might well just be that they've had a massive offer available. And so that hotel is nigh on full. The price rises on a supply and demand basis.
And to add on with that, John, actually, one thing I noticed when I was doing this, when I looked at the deluxe ones, a lot of them are Disney Vacation Club resorts. And that has a heavy impact, especially in like Saratoga Springs and Old Key West, on room availability. So sometimes when you look at the price and it looks really good, that might be the studio, but then you're looking at a day later, if that studio is gone, it's like, oh, the only one that's available is a 2-bedroom. Obviously, the price is going to be
significantly greater.
Different. So it's the headline price when you look at it, because every hotel has different room categories as well.
Well, what I tried to stack up is for 2024 prices, when you look at the same price for 2025. Now, I know that my looking at this price is probably a little unfair on the whole Disney pricing bit, because actually the earlier you book, it tends to be you can get a bargain somewhere along the lines if you're prepared to just hold out. But you I say hold out, but you get in early. You get in early, but you look and you see when the price comes up. I'm just going with All Star Movies because I found it quite hilarious that for the first week in August for 5 nights, the price for this year, if I then added on the price of dining for 2025, the price will be exactly the same. And I just thought, when you go in and you're desperately looking for a difference, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm on a lead to something. So I then looked at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it's pretty similar. The price, and admittedly, when we're only, most people are booked up for Animal Kingdom Lodge for this year anyway. So you've got to get, if you get in early, you might get a better price as well. I would expect some of the prices to rise for 2025 accordingly, depending on whether or not people believe this to be a good idea. I think the word I'm getting is because they've advertised it as free dining, those people, me included, and I will also say that your ears prick up and you suddenly like, it's back. There we go. That's another thing that they've fixed that previously I wasn't getting, that had gone away, and it's now back on the table. I still think we're paying for it, but hey, that's another thing.
Yeah,
but I think for me, I've tried to look at it in a different way, Ben. I just thought for people who book for August, it's trying to just cut across different parts of it. I couldn't find a big.
The other times of the year that I chose from January, October half term, and May. So I've chosen a couple that are in school holidays and a couple out. And all of the others were identical pricing between without the offer and with the offer.
Right.
The only ones that dropped down were during the summer holidays.
Well, I mean, that's good news for UK families.
Yeah, it is.
Not the school holidays. I mean, Centre Park, just saying.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
But I think that is a really good thing. It's not a huge difference, but every little counts, to quote a big company. And I think that if you need to travel on holidays, then that means it's as affordable as it can be to stay on site.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think when you look at this entire offer that Disney are offering, yes, it reminds us back of what we had before the pandemic. So the free Disney dining and drinks. So, and then you've got the 14-day for the price of 7, which is usually an offer that goes on all the time. But you've also got if you book a flight inclusive package, you can get more discount as well. So it's up to £300 on your package discount if you book by the 2nd of July. Or it's a £200 booking saving on a hotel and ticket package. So,
and they're not doing the gift card alongside that as well, are they? No, because previously they've done that. But and there are other ways to book it. I know that there are other companies who are doing promos and deals and discounts, and obviously our friends over at Portwood Travel will help you out with some of that if you're interested. I'm sure they've had a busy week sorting out people's trips. And then our friends at Attraction Tickets have also got an extra 10% off at the moment. So you can go via our website.
Yep.
And there's a link there for Attraction Tickets that will take you straight to them, and they're offering an extra 10% off hotel and ticket packages.
Yep.
So if you're spending £6,000 on a trip,
a nice £600 off is quite handy.
right? That's that's not to be sniffed at. So
that's
I
one
think,
plane ticket.
Yeah.
well, it depends what
Economy.
you're flying. Yeah, I was
It
gonna
depends.
say.
Not even economy. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Depends what time of year you
If you
fly.
got, if you got,
Yeah.
you're going to be a Reykjavik or something like that, I think. That's
You're in the hold. Yeah.
I'm with Norse, maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Fly with Norse again.
I'd fly with anyone. As like John says, as long as I get
Yeah.
there, I don't matter about the rest.
I want
Yes,
to
it'll
get
be
there,
not.
and I want my luggage to get there,
Yeah.
and I want to get there on time.
I like, as I say, as we flew up a class last year, I can't really say much else.
Yeah.
We can usually fly economy, especially to Asian.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, I think there's definite benefit if you're thinking about booking, and there are different ways to book it. But
Yeah.
that tells me that it's not really free unless you go in the first 2 weeks of summer holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still the same price. It's one of those things, and with food, it's
The price before didn't
Price-
include the dining plan,
No.
did it? So if the
So
price
it is
before without
essentially
the
free.
so
dining
it is
plan
free.
and the price with dining plan are the
Yeah.
same, then technically the dining
Sorry,
plan
my
is
misunderstanding. I thought you
Yeah.
meant the price now is the same price as the hotel plus the price of the cost of the
No.
dining plan. Okay.
No.
So
The
it's
hotel,
free.
so it's free.
Yeah.
ish.
And I think that will. We've always said this. I would rather them just say it's included instead of free. But obviously, included doesn't sound as good on an advertising board as
Absolutely.
free dining.
I think as well. I've been
Yes.
desperate to be really controversial throughout this. I was desperate to find and pick fault in it purely because
It's disappointing, isn't
it is a bit.
it?
However, what I would say is, having done free dining back in 2019 on our trip then, where we did 10 nights in the beach club, the prices now, as with everything, have gone up massively. And going from what we've actually discovered, and actually looking back to that trip, the actual difference is in the region of about 80 to 90% higher now than it was then. But we saw that anyway post-COVID, because the hotel prices themselves went up massively. Ticket prices have gone up obviously year on year, but that's the bit where, if you're looking for a bargain, and I think Claire, you alluded to this as well, as the fact that if you want to stay on property, you're going to have to pay a price to do so. And you then have to decide whether that's and that's where you decide whether you want to stay in a value, where you stay in moderate, where you stay in deluxe, and that's where the choice comes in. And I think for anyone, it's a minefield on your planning, but you need to decide what you want for your whole holiday, not what your credit card can max out or anything like that. What you can actually seriously go and just afford, and actually come back home and think, yeah, we had a nice time. And just realize, if it's your first time, you will be going again. So don't max out that credit card just for that one trip.
You'll need it.
You'll be wanting
Don't
to
buy
go
all the-
back again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just looking on Disney's website that their savings that they say. So for staying at a value hotel, the savings on dining would be £265 per adult on a 2-week stay. A moderate hotel would be £685 per adult saving, and on the deluxe is £1,105 per adult saving over 2 weeks.
And that you can get more than that if you're a bit clever what you order.
So interesting. I've just been having a quick look while we've been
Yeah.
talking, and I priced up 2 weeks next summer in the summer holidays. And for a preferred room at Coronado Springs, for 2 adults and a child, with an upgraded dining plan to the one quick service, one table service. It was, sorry, I lie, with a standard quick service plan was £6,400.
Yeah.
All I can recommend is don't look back to before COVID
No.
because looked up what we spent in 2016
Don't even go there.
and
No, don't do
paid
that.
£299 for a ticket.
Not real money anymore. But I've just looked at, so then to upgrade that dining plan would have been £1,260. So that would have taken to 8,000 odd.
Yeah.
So I've just looked at 2 weeks at Animal Kingdom Lodge, immediately gone to a deluxe resort, which automatically comes with a table service plan.
Yeah.
The same 2 weeks in a deluxe resort in a standard room is 7,313.
Wow.
So deluxe resort, same with the upgraded plan, is costing me less.
Yeah.
So that's the bit, people. You need to do your maths. If you want to get the table service plan, it will be probably cheaper to stay in a deluxe resort where you get it included than to upgrade in a moderate.
Yep.
It depends on, how you want to spend your money, I suppose.
It depends on the trip as well.
Yeah.
And I it sounds really weird. I know that I've been looking a lot on social media about this because obviously every Disney
Everyone's
page
lost its mind.
Yeah. Everyone seems to be missing, though, something that I really liked, which was the $200 gift card. There was just something about it that when you got there, the food was sorted, but
Trekking down to Disney Springs.
I'm going there anyway. I'm going to the Lego store. So it's like, I want that gift card and I want to go and buy something.
The gift card burnt a hole in your pocket the minute you got handed over. The kids had it spent in World of Disney anyway. So it was just like, there's a gift card. There you go. Right? I said, well, that's done. Right. Okay. That's a free shot. And that was it.
Yeah. But it was good.
We've
If
done
you
that.
were on the full dining plan, you could use that gift card to pay for your
gratuities.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing when you do have the table service one to think about. It's an extra cost you'll have to put into your budget. And this goes back to all of our planning shows where when you are planning a trip, working out what your must-dos, and that goes for food as well, and working out okay, this trip is for this. What do I want to do? Do I want to eat at all of these deluxe restaurants actually with the signature dining? Is this something that the dining plan will actually help?
Well, it's still going to cost you money because if you have 4 people eating at a character breakfast at $50 each, and you're paying a 20% service charge, which is the expected now, 18 minimum, 20 to 22 is standard now.
Yeah,
you're suddenly paying $40 gratuity
for a meal you think is free,
right? And if you do that because you get a table service every day, and that's a conservative meal cost.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's costing you quite a lot.
It's $560.
Yeah.
Right. For something you thought was free. And that's it. If you have a meal that only costs $50 per person.
Yeah. I think that's a good call, Claire. Wow. And I think as well, I think none of us here would ever, you would never walk out of a table service restaurant without having left an appropriate tip, right?
Absolutely
because actually, I know people from Britain think, oh, well, it's always 10%. It's not. You go to the US, the expectation is completely different. And yes, I know this is a contentious issue forever and a day, but it's a case of a server feeling as if you're being rude if you've not left them what is the expected tip. And I think that is something, just prepare yourself. That must be taken into account with your money and things like that. We tend to leave cash just because if I've got a dining plan, I like to just sign that off, know that's taken care of, and then we'll leave cash. I always like to think it'll get back to the server more quickly, but it probably doesn't. But it makes me feel better about things. The numbers you were
also, it makes it easier to keep track on how much you're spending on tips. Because if you're just signing it on a hotel check, and you're just signing everything away, My goodness, if you're sitting at the bar and you're just signing off
that
drinks.
comes as a shock when you come to check out, doesn't it? You know, and you're just like,
Right?
oh,
No, it really does. And you're tipping on drinks, still, well, I think the current, talking to my cousin who obviously lives in New York, the current on a mixed drink should be $3 to $4 per drink that you would tip. If it's just like a standard pour, so a soda or something, it's $1.
Okay.
But if you're having a cocktail, then you should be tipping $3 to $4
I
per
can
drink.
understand that. Yeah.
So if you're buying a round of drinks for 4 people, it's going to cost you $20 in a tip on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly it adds up quite a lot.
Yeah. And Disney are helpful that they do put down, if you're unsure about how to work out how much to tip, they do have the 3 recommended values.
They do.
It's interesting. So you don't always have to do what we do and get the calculator out and work out what is this of this.
Yeah.
And it's pre-tax, just so people know. The tip is pre-tax tip.
Has anyone accidentally not tipped before?
No, I always over-tip. I'm really conscious about it. I over-tip every time.
We've done it once on our honeymoon.
Oh, did they chase you down?
Our first ever trip. No, this was the last day of the trip. So this was 2 weeks holiday.
Particular place.
Oh, no,
It was in
that
Disney
is
Springs.
Disney Springs,
Margarita.
Paradiso
Yeah, Paradiso
37, I think.
It's called.
We went in for a drink.
Oh,
That
I
bar.
know that place. Have they got your photo up behind the bar?
Do not let it. It's like that one from Rapunzel from Tangled.
These people left this place without.
It's like we had a drink. I paid, and then we left, and it was like
We couldn't work out. It took us a while to work out why the guy had kind of been grumpy or when we paid.
And it was only like 15 minutes later. It was like we were sitting down outside, just a bit further down in sort of downtown Disney it was then. And it was like, oh, we didn't tip.
Did you go back?
No, because at the time we then had to go and get the
Bus to get to the valley.
How many years ago was that?
11.
Right, you still feel guilty about it now.
I love that.
He's still annoyed with you now as well.
I want to know, but he's
You'll
still
be
there.
the person he talks about to all his friends. Do you know those British couple? They never tip.
You remember that Christmas?
You
That Christmas, you never get any toys, kids.
We've made up
With
with
them.
it.
We bought DVC.
We've made up with it.
We've spent so much else.
It's gone by.
It's all right. I've made up for it. I've probably tipped the person many times over.
Yeah, but it's important. And I think culturally, it's something that we from the UK. It's something we really do need to be aware of. I would also add, Claire, your numbers for Coronado. There you go. Your numbers for Coronado. I was really interested because when you said like £7,000, and you're like, oh no, that is just like such a massive amount.
Right.
But actually, when you look back on it, and this is the trick that Disney have got. If you take that number and you actually dissect it into the number of nights, and you maybe you want to sell it. Maybe if you want to sell it to your partner, and you just you're thinking, right, here we go. It's only this, and we're getting food included per day. It only works.
You've got to take out the price of the tickets as well.
£500. So just if you need an excuse to try and sell it, go back to per day cost. Just a handy
and just say we're going on holiday next year.
Disney are doing a similar trick though, aren't they, with the hotels?
Yeah.
They always used
so
it with
much
the
per
tickets as well.
person per night.
Yeah. But they always did it with the 14-day tickets because it was always like £35 per person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other bit of number crunching you need to do is particularly if you've got any sort of discount available to you. So I know that I looked at the cost of I looked at the hotel cost of this year, obviously without a dining plan, and the hotel cost without any past discount on the US website, and the difference is enormous. And then you think, well, is it better? How much money am I actually going to spend on food? Am I going to do better if I book just the hotel with a discount and then spend the difference on food? Am I going to spend £1,260 per person?
Especially when you consider...
Right, so I don't think I could eat. What's 1,260 divided by 3? £400,
Where are you eating?
420 quid's worth of food. That would be quite hard work. And then I think,
Yeah.
well, maybe not. Depends on what I'm going to eat.
You're going to eat
But
a
I mean,
steak
drinks are
is going to
having.
be expensive.
I'm not going to eat a steak.
No.
Well, no, but
That's
I was just.
but that's the
Yeah.
I
thing.
was
Point. You're
What am I?
vegetarian.
The point is, what am
Yeah.
I going to eat?
Yeah.
And the
And
other thing
so,
about the dining plan is to make it worth value, you always go for the most expensive thing on the menu.
So then you have to add
But
tip onto
then
that.
you have to add tip onto it.
whether
So
you're
you're
working
you're
or not.
actually
You
yeah.
have to think, if you're an annual pass or
Right.
DVC member, you get discount off of food.
Yeah.
Off
Yeah.
table service food.
Yeah.
And you got to get your alcoholic drink in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
It's one of those things you have to do the math.
we bought the dining plan on a
Previously.
Disney vacation club trip. So when we were staying on
Yes.
points, we didn't have it free at that time. And it was like we made the most of that quick service dining plan, but I didn't like it didn't feel as flexible. It felt like we had to make sure that quick service was Satuli Canteen with the most expensive thing on the menu, or it was like, okay, this snack is $9, I need to have that to do it. And that to me is not a holiday. If I want a bottle of Coke, I want to go and get a bottle of Coke.
I think those are the vlogs that I've seen though, Ben. I've seen people since the dining plan came back. There's been a number of different people who vlog, some British, some American, who've gone and tested out the dining plan and gone, can I make my money back on the dining plan? And after 5 days, they've saved themselves what the equivalent would have been of $110, but they've eaten so much food to make that work.
Yeah.
Which the amount they've eaten is not a reasonable amount for a normal human being.
No.
But you wouldn't do that 14 days in a row. That's
Exactly. So yes, sometimes they have made it work in their favour.
if
But
it's only a 3 or 4 night trip.
if you're a
or-
normal
it's-
adult, you're not going to stuff your face all day, every day,
no
just
way.
to make your money
No way.
back.
No.
Might do
I
it for the
think-
first 3 days and then you'll feel
Yeah.
ill. We've all done
Yeah.
it. We've all been eating far too much beige food and then you go, I just need
something
something
green, something with
some broccoli,
and
Yeah.
yeah.
or some fruit
Yeah.
or something. And
Yeah.
therefore then
Yeah.
you choose something different and the value drops. So I think if you were to go with the idealistic view, which is, yes, I'm going to max it out, I'm going to buy the most expensive thing every time, and I'm definitely going to get my money back, you are probably fooling yourselves. Either that or you're going to come back, I know calories don't count in Disney, but probably 2 stone heavier than you were before
They
you
don't
went.
count while you're out there, but as soon as you get back, they're
Yeah.
Right, as soon as you get on the plane, suddenly
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
They all appear. I guess.
I don't think of it in that way anyway. I look at it as being able to know up front that I've paid for my dining.
Yeah, no, I agree
And
with
if
that.
that costs me a little bit more, then that costs me a little bit more. I'm not.
It's a bit like if you book an
over
all
bothered
inclusive.
about
If I look at a place to go, I don't know, in Spain, and it's like I've got half board or I can go all inclusive. It's like, it's not much more money different in price. It's
You're
like,
going
okay, at least
all-inclusive,
I'll go all inclusive, but I know that then all the food and everything's taken care of. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people book knowing, because it's nicer to have that budget of going like, okay, this is what it is. Yes, it's expensive. I'm going to Disney. Food's going to be expensive anyway, but at least I know that is my budget and that is what it is.
I've paid up front. I don't need to worry about whether I have, if something catastrophic happens between now and my trip, I don't have to find the money for food.
No.
I know that my family are going to eat. I know that we're going to have a good time. I don't need to worry about that. And therefore, that is a big tick in the box that perhaps
Totally agree with that.
not using the dining plan. It's just that mental security.
Yeah,
of knowing that
if you wanted
everything,
to save a bit of money, you can save money.
my
doing-
accommodation, my ticket, my food is all done.
There
So
are ways
then-
to save money, and sometimes the deal with the dining plan is good value. But sometimes, once you've worked out what you want to eat and how restrictive sometimes you want to be on your schedule for eating in sort of quick service table service dining, we found it easy just to load up a Revolut or a gift card and go, that's how much the
that would be
dining
the
plan
fun
would have
thing.
cost.
Oh, so that would be an interesting game. We need someone who
Ooh.
could do that. So, how much does the dining plan? The value of the dining
I thought
plan.
of it.
Right.
You're
How
going
much
next, Clay. You can tell us by the time the show
the
is-
value of the dining plan per person
Yeah.
loaded onto a gift card or a Revolut or something like that,
Are you going to come back with money?
and then you go and you eat what you want to eat, not what you feel you should
Yeah.
eat, and look at what the difference is. So some you get that would be compared to dining plan. That would be really
We've been
interesting.
thinking of doing it,
We've been thinking of doing that. I would do that on our next trip, but
but we're doing a lot of off-site food.
yeah, we're in
Yeah.
offsite this year.
But that's going to be cheaper
yeah.
as
But
well,
yeah.
though. And that's the other thing I was just about to
Yeah.
chuck in there is the fact that if you are if you have to stay on site for your dining, if you want cheaper dining off site, it's there. But also,
Mm.
you know, even if you got a car, even if you're staying on site without a dining plan, or heaven forbid, you know, you stay somewhere else outside that Disney bubble and you get yourself a villa or another hotel, there is other options. And I think that's the other bit that, again, try and factor that into your planning, because actually, for me, that at the moment is that there's a very, very tight line between the two. And I couldn't even give an opinion as to which way is better, whether you stay right on site and or you go get.
That would be really
Yeah.
interesting. I always want to give that a go, to load up a card and how
Yeah.
much it would have
Yeah.
cost for the dining plan up front,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
Go and eat
to
where you want.
just go and eat where you want, enjoy what you want. Are you going to come back with money in the
Yeah.
bank?
Yeah.
Might
So
try it in
long as you
September.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
So long as you remember that you are going to still be paying gratuities separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Because that's
take the
what some
gratuities
people
out because you're
do.
going to pay them anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just the cost of the food,
Okay.
and we're
Yeah.
coming back with money on my card.
Ooh.
I think we can
Fixing
try and
cat.
we try and do
That sounds
September.
like a
We could try it in
really
September.
interesting way to turn
Yeah.
the conversation in the head, because people are going, "Oh, can I get the best value out of it?" But to do that, I've just seen people like buying so much food that then possibly the food. You know, a bit of a thing about food waste, and it annoys me just to get the value. People are overbuying or overeating. And yes, you're active in Disney to an extent,
No,
but you know
no, because
there is a
you
limit
don't
to
want
how.
you don't want an impact on your day in the park, because you're either too
Right.
full or you.
Feel
Yeah,
like
it is a horrible feeling, Claire. It really is. And actually,
yeah, I
you know,
agree.
I actually think that
It's no fun.
that for us
And it-
is one of the reasons why we very rarely stay on site for the duration of the stay,
Mm.
because actually by the time we get to maybe 5, 6, 7 days, the actual selection of food,
Done.
we need to go and have something. Yeah, even for the fact that you don't feel as if you have to go get. Oh, I need some
Oh,
breakfast. No,
I'm-
I just want a coffee. I want a coffee.
I
and
do
that's
love
it.
Oh, I
six-
miss you,
yeah.
sweet tomato.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
See, but I do love a signature restaurant where the portions are smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not filling up.
Isn't it weird? Yeah.
That
you
makes
get-
no sense. I'm spending
Yeah.
more, but I know the portions are really nice. But it's
Yeah.
They're normal portions then.
yeah. I like
They're
not
British
American,
sized
Yeah.
portions.
not American sized
Yeah.
portions. Yeah, it's like going to
But then,
Topolino's for breakfast.
you're
It's a really nice breakfast where I
Yeah.
could go to say Ohana and fill up on lots of food, which is all just Mickey Waffles.
Carb
Yes.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But signature dining costs you double credits.
That's okay.
Oh
though.
yeah.
It's up to you how you choose to spend it.
Yeah, I'm very happy to pay double credits for signature dining. We do it quite often.
But yeah, I think Ben, that's probably challenge extended. Can you bring money? Is there going to not can you bring money? Because yes, of course you can.
Yeah.
But if you were to go and dine as you wished,
Yeah.
to quote the Princess Bride, would it mean that actually it costs you less, rather than feeling like you have to spend the money to get the value? I haven't seen any vloggers do that yet.
no, I think we might give that a go.
Try that in September.
Yeah,
It's what a lot
I'm worried we're going to eat
people
way too
say
much food on the
do.
cruise. We're not going to want any food when we get
Yeah.
to Walt Disney World. Because actually, this is making our cruise even better value. Thinking of how much a week or 2 weeks at Disney for our 7-night cruise is £2,800 with all the
that is
food
very good
included.
value. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
really good value.
That's so cheap.
Brander as well.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Sounds
cruise
like
is
a show in itself.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
I mean, I think we've
Well-
done the dining plan quite well there. I think we've covered most of it, and I think
Yeah.
I'm still undecided. Yes, it's free. Do I need it? Do I need all that food? Would, if I was there, and I know when I'm there on my own, I had a conversation with Sean, friend of the show, who was on one of our previous episodes not that long ago, and I said, sometimes if I'm there on my own, I have coffee at breakfast in the room, and then I might throw a granola bar in my handbag, or my part bag, and I probably won't eat until maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. I won't have
Yeah.
breakfast. I probably won't have lunch, just because I'm on my own and actually
Yeah.
I don't need to. Unless I'm really hungry, I might grab a snack, but
I'd
I'm not
get a
going to.
pretzel or something, or just something to keep me
Right.
going, but not.
So if
Yeah.
I was doing that on the dining plan, it would be an absolute waste of
Yeah.
money.
Absolutely.
And I would not make the most of it, most definitely, because actually I don't need that amount of food. I don't want that amount of food. If I'm there with my family, would we have to stop? Probably, but I still think we wouldn't use all the credits that were available. That's certainly been my experience previously. So
Yeah.
think about how you holiday. Think about what's important to you when you're there. If you're people who really enjoy eating rather than riding.
Well, that just about wraps it up for this episode. Thanks, guys, for this great conversation we've had about dining plan. Who knew we'd get so much out of it? Anyway, you can find us in all the usual places, your podcast place of choice. You can find us here on YouTube. And of course, you can find all our other programs, all our Wednesdays and all our mid-months. They're all there for you to peruse at your leisure. We're on all the socials, Facebook, X, Threads, you name it, we're there. And of course, we have our own website, which is, Ben?
gbmickeywaffle.com. And also, all our socials are at gbmickeywaffle.
There you go.
Yeah, we are everywhere,
We are.
pretty much.
So there's only one thing left to say. Waffle on.
Waffle
Waffle
on.
on.